Got that. Okay. But yeah, it was a suggestion made by one of you guys to have a chatting day. So we've added it. We did it the last Friday of last month. And in all honesty, I was not prepared for it. I prepared some things, but the conversation we had went in a different direction, so the stuff I prepared wasn't usable. So, but hopefully for this one, I'll be a tad bit more prepared. We'll see. For the one, it's in. Is it next week? I think it's next week, isn't it? Yeah, it's next Friday. Huh. Alrighty then. So let's get our game up here. Let's see if everything was saved from the crash this morning. So we had a pretty good crash. I need to put these down. I'm gonna eat this whole thing of pretzels if I don't put them out of my reach. Okay. Out of sight. Hopefully I saved. Yes, I did. Good. Good, good, good. Let's close that. All right, then. That is close this. Open this one. So, I was thinking more about how the test room is going to work. It actually is turned out pretty good. So we have, make that bigger. So looking at everything for level, the first character level, 0 to 1. So I started putting things in order. Let's go ahead and run this because I want to show you kind of what I had to stop because I really needed to do some art last night. So let's see if this works when we're on here. Yes, yes, yes. And hopefully it will come up. Okay, it's up on my screen and it's up on your screen. So yay, that worked. Awesome. All right, so one of the things, oh, wait a minute, something's wrong. Let me move you guys over here so I can see what's going on. Okay, game maker. Oh, we need. Interesting. Oh, it actually comes up as the game maker screen when I do it that way. Interesting. Okay, I'm not frozen, so that's good. All right, so if we go to our little test room, let's just run down the side here. So this is our test room. And what we have is we have all the objects we need for each of our characters. It basically is all of the quests for that character and all the items needed. And then I also did some artwork for the fountain when the fountain's finished. So I did some animation for the fountain. So that is what the fountain will look like once it's fully built. Pretzels are great snacks. No denying that, yeah. I seem to be a blub because I never catched it. Oh no, no worries. Yeah, we might extend the talking shows, or maybe put some talking a talking section into the daily shows. We'll see how those go. But so last night I went ahead and did this little animation for for the fountain once the fountain's completely built. And if for those of you that are new, you basically, the otter builds the fountain for us when the fountain's broken. So, yep. I need to change all the text because the text is wrong. You get the basic idea. And then once the fountain's completely built, then it will actually turn on. So there. And then it'll go directly to this one once it's turned on. So I thought that looked kind of cool. But for some reason, I really needed to do some kind of artwork last night. Because my brain just like, nope, we gotta do something. We gotta do something now. Do you? So you don't mind random questions? No, not at all. The only trick is if I see them. You know, that's why we have the at your joy on there so that I can see them. Yeah, I made it last night. It's just here, I can show you. Let me pull the After Effects file up. Okay, no, discontinue. Apparently it crashed, but I can hopefully I saved it before it crashed. Let's see, did it? Fountain animation. Turn off caps lock. Okay, so let me show you here. Window. This should be After Effects. Let's turn that on. It should cover this. And we're way above. Okay. So there's our... can I make that? Oh, it just makes the whole thing smaller. So here's the full animation. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I just needed to do something. Yeah, so it's basically just if we make this window a little bit smaller so we can pull the timeline in. So it's basically only 4 pieces. It's the background layer. Here, let's cut that. So we have the background layer. We have oh, I think I changed that. I think that just is this one now. We go back to the ones that we had before. I forgot to write down which ones are. Let's move everything that's not a working layer down to the bottom. Okay, so we have our background layer, which is just the whole thing. Let's do this, fit, so you can see it. Then I added a not a foreground layer, but a layer for where the water is. And then so put the water in, and then just did a fountain spray, which is let me see where the effect is. So it's just this effect. I just played with this until I got something I liked, and then I picked frames in the middle so that it would always be running. And that's just it. That was pretty simple. And then you can do a bunch of stuff with it, but I didn't go like wild with it. So if we pull out here a little bit, I could make it wider. So let me put a frame on where you can see it. So I can take this and go, okay, I want it to be bigger. That way it's throwing it all over the place. You know, but I didn't do that. I just like, okay, let's keep it simple. Similar to what it looked like in the artwork. And then we can do that. And then just put some, if you look over on the physics, there's some bounce stuff that you can put in. And that puts, if you look real close at the, let me see if I can zoom in here. Then I'll answer the questions. So there's bounce in the water. So if we turn it back on now, you can see that there's water bouncing, which is just a nice little effect. It doesn't mean much. Right. Yeah, so I took our fountain that we had before and then just added some animation to it, and it worked out really well. Okay, let's stop that. We'll go to the next question here. Here is a random question. Since you seem to enjoy driving, do you think people in the US are driving worse after the pandemic? In England, I feel it's way worse now. Well, I did not drive when I was in England. When I was in Cambridge, I literally lived a mile away from work. And in Cambridge, everything's pretty close. So I bought just a small electric bike, like a pedal assist bike. It was able to go everywhere. Plus the community transportation system, the public transportation system there was amazing. So I never had to drive there. Um, Coming back to the U.S., though, there does seem to be a decline in people's ability to drive. Like, I complain about this all the time, and Frigg gets absolutely, she just giggles about it, is that people do not know how to deal with a four-way stop. And one thing I miss from the UK is roundabouts everywhere. If I could just have roundabouts, I would be happy as punch. But yeah, so it may be worse. I don't know. There's a generation there that's probably supposed to be learning how to drive when the pandemic happened and wasn't able to learn. So they got a couple years older and just got thrown into it. Yes, the roundabouts are the best abouts. I would agree with that. Because when I was raised in Orange County, there was only one roundabout in Orange County, and it was in the middle of Santa Ana, or Orange, sorry, city of Orange. Um, and that seemed to work out great, but everything was stop signs and lights. Davies Art Corner, welcome back. Yeah, so our test room actually, the more I thought about it, the happier I got about it. Because we can literally just test everything, test our code, test everything, and watch it just work. All on the same page. Get this one. Bring the nurse her meds. Now it's down there by her feet, etc., etc. Then we have to write code for these other things. But even Steve the idiot can come down here, and he'll now take the 3 reads. Doesn't matter which 3. He'll take 3 reads now. And right now he makes his little read thing on his leg. So it's just good to be able to test everything in one place. And then from the test that I did yesterday, if we did it this way, and we did all of the level 1 quest in one page like this, then from the test that I did is all I have to do is copy the characters and stuff from this page into our world and they work. But just to me was like, oh my god, that's awesome. So we just line everybody up, and above the green line is the stuff that we need to bring them, and below the green line is the stuff that they will give us back, is the basic idea. And we can just build all of our levels this way, where each of our levels is a page. And then from that page, we can just test our whole main storyline quests. And then we can just scatter other ones throughout the game that can be done at any time. And that, to me, that just seems a little bit more efficient than what we've been doing, which is literally running around the whole world, trying to see if we have all the quests right and if they're working correctly. Okay. No, I do not mind random questions. I'm seeing if there's anything else up here. No, no more at your joys. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I did the animation for that, which I just showed you in After Effects. I just wanted it to be cool. It's not exactly like the original art was, which is fine. But, and it's all of it hasn't been set to anything, because this will actually replace this. And then I have to do some kind of a animation for it to like power up, so glow or something. It does need a glow. No. Pretty much all the how-to game dev videos I watched all say rapid prototyping is key. Yeah, it is, and that's what this is basically going to be. You know. Yeah. Simple always works. That's why I always say, give your artist a deadline and make it as close to the date they start as possible. Because artists will overthink a piece of art to death. It's not a bad thing, it's just they'll keep iterating on it. You know, the story I use to talk about it and this was told to me when I was in art school back in the 80s. And I may have the wrong artist, but I always use Monet as the artist. There was a famous artist, Monet, and it may not be him, but you'll understand why. And that artist could never, every time they went to a gallery, every time they went anywhere where their art was showing, he would see his art, and then he would go out to his studio, get his brushes and all that stuff, and come back and start messing with the art. Because for an artist, they don't see the masterpiece beauty that they've created. They see the mistakes. They see the things that they still want to fix. And they don't see the masterpiece that they created. They just see those mistakes. And I've been guilty of this in my past too. It's like, make something quick and walk away. You know, that's why a really good director or manager is good for an artist, because they know when to take the art away. You know, one rule of thumb is, if the client's happy with it, it's done. Even though the artist may say, just give me 5 more minutes, you know, or 3 more days. But what an artist can do, if they have ideas, because I always tell people that if you are working on a piece of art and you have an idea that's going to make it better, make an alt. If you still make the piece that they've asked for and you make an alt with the ideas that you had while working on it, 9 times out of 10, they're going to like the alt better. And here's why. Is because while you're working on a piece of art, your subconscious is also working on that piece of art. And it's going to kick ideas out and say, oh, wouldn't it be cool if? And you don't want to take it away from the piece of art that you've been asked to make. So you make an alt and then present them both. You know, and that's always my experience has always been that the alt, though they like the one that is exactly what they asked for, the alt is usually the one they pick because it's better than the one they asked for. But you always have to do the one they asked for, always. Monet was pretty emphasis for going back and even tearing up. Yeah. So then it was probably Monet. It's been 40 years since I was in school, so I always forget which artist it was. But yeah, they have, you know, an artist never thinks it's done, ever. And you got to take it away from them. So what I do is I do quick things like this. It's like, okay, what's the simplest way? Okay, done. Does it meet all the needs? Yes. Because this is just temp art that we're using to get things going, and we're using AI drawn art. We're using I'm doing some animations on some of it, stuff like that. You know, it's just that's all it is. We know it's all going to be thrown away, so it doesn't. You don't have to make every single piece perfect. You know, but doesn't mean you can't make it look good. Because like I really like the splashing water inside the fountain. I know that's silly, but to me that's just funny. It's just like I look at it and go, yeah, I like that. Sounds like perfectionism. Where is Savi Otter now? I believe she's doing a lot of construction on her house, and she also is at work. She is around, but we do have an otter in the game over here, who is our fountain builder and our character's helper. So anytime that the character gets stuck in the game, they can always go to the otter or to Steve and get back on track. Yes, it is. Because there's always a big difference between what the artist wants it to be and what the clients ask for. And sometimes companies can allow the artist to live out their dream. Sometimes they can't because the time just doesn't allow for it. But that's where good managers come in. I will be right back. I am back. Me, a recovering perfectionist who's also an artist, shakily raises hand. Yes. But it's all right. I mean, the fact is that you know about it, so it's not a big deal. But like I said, that's where good managers come in. The best managers will come in and say, okay, it's done. And moving on. Here's your next piece of work. Do it. Because I've seen artists, and I've been guilty of it as well, that work a piece of art so bad that it makes it bad. Because there's a bell curve of getting better, getting better, getting better. This is really good. Oh, now you've ruined it. Okay. I have finished all the pretzels in sight. I have put the pretzels away so I can't reach them. We're all good. I have the last pretzel in my mouth for today. And sorry, I'm looking. Okay, there it is. For some reason, our background music wasn't starting. Yeah. So yeah, so to get through level 1, we will only. I haven't picked the reason I have all these guys up here. Not all of them are for level 1. In fact, only one of them will be. I just haven't decided the order yet. because you want the end of each level to be the 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 building of that particular statue. So in this case, level 1 ends basically here. And then we continue. Level 2 will start with this statue being all broken up. And you having to go out into the world to get it. To get all the pieces to put it together. And I'm just using Frey as an example. And then Frey will give you the next piece of advice to get you to go out in the world and to earn next level, which is Freya in this particular case, etc. So each of these will represent a leveling up. So if we start here from the beginning, you're at 0 here. When you get to here, you are level 1. When you get this statue put together, you'll be level 2. This one level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then that's when you're finished the game. So that's the basic idea. So you just have 10 levels, but it's a lot to it. So that is the plan. And I don't think I put an exit back in here, did I? I need to put an exit in this room so that we can go back to close that. Go here because we do have our entrance. Oh, we had our entrance. Where the hell did it go? Oh, hello. Oh, we don't have an exit because the entrance comes from the other one, right? Let's put an exit in here. I'm going to be so much happier when we clean all this up. Hello, McFly. Oh, because that's the S. We need the O. We need the object. Boom, exit object. Let's put it down here in the corner. Does not need to be that big. And we'll take it to, we'll just say village. Our village, and I think it's, we'll say from the right we'll go 75, and we'll say 160. Okay. Obviously I can go look, but part of me just wants to see if I can make it work. Survey says. Alrighty then. And down the side. Woohoo! Now we should just go back to the village here, right? Yay! Oh, it put us in the water. We were so close! I just have to raise them about 20 points. Okay, we were so close. Let's put this at 40. He should be fine. It would be funny if right at the end, once you restore Odin's statue, he tells you that he could have fixed everything. Well, yes and no, because here's the thing, Master Sprite. I don't know if you know our storyline, because we have a storyline that goes with everything. Is right now, this realm that we're in is not seen by Odin or any of the other gods except for Loki. And that's because Loki is not responsible for it being made, but was there when this realm was, these people were moved to this realm because Thor was being an older brother, you know. So Loki thought that he would go and take over to keep this realm a secret so that he could be Odin for a while, you know. So the World Tree is still trying to find this realm, because it knows its existence, but Loki's been very lucky at keeping it hidden from the world tree. And if since the world tree is not attached to it, then the other gods can't see it. So Loki's kept it hidden, and at this point, he's kept it hidden for 3 years. At least 3 years to our characters, and every now and then, the world tree gets a hint of it and starts heading that way. It starts like its roots start growing that way, so it can attach to it. So when we finally get to Odin, then it's like, number one, you fix the conflict between your grandfather and his brother. And then Odin comes in and takes over the realm and punishes Loki, basically. That's kind of where we're at with it. So that's when Odin is fought. Because we don't actually deal with the gods themselves because they can't see this. But we do deal with their spirit animals, and that's why we have the otter. Okay, now this should put us in town again. Perfect. Good. So to do what we were doing in the test page, we would have to go here first. Okay, and help Eric here, or sorry, Steve, the idiot. So we'll help him first. So he fixes his leg, and then we leave him. Let me grab this. Then we have to go into the village, our grandfather's village, and we go to the house and look to see what happened there. Then we come out and this is where we find out about the hat. Please help me find my hat. And then we go over to the clinic and we meet the nurse who's been waiting for the stuff that Grandpa sent us to get. But she also says that he's missing. So let me give her the medicine. So yep. And it's now down by her feet, but I have to fix that. And because we helped Steve while we were searching the house, Steve came to the clinic to get his leg fixed. So she sends us off to this, and we run into this guy who basically tells us, "I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees. You will need an axe to take down these." So he basically tells you can't chop trees until you have an axe. Yeah, and then she's a matchstick girl. She makes candles and matches. So we know about that now. Go to town. Come into town, and there's the boy who wants axes, but he wants axes to throw at the otter. But at this point, we don't know who the otter is. So yeah. And back behind this tree is a power-up. Or it was here. Yep, there it is. So we can get back to full power again. Yep. Then we go over here to the sheriff, and the sheriff basically says, "I'm not going to look for your grandfather. It's not my job. It's not my job to chase after everybody all the time." Then he says, "Go to the priest or the clergy, whichever. It's just the holy man for this particular time." Then he goes, "Okay." Because him and his grandfather live in the village, which is still worships the old gods. He goes, "You need to go to your old gods for this. We can't help you. But here, take this incense with you and burn it at Odin's altar." So he goes back. Oh, well, we need to do this. So the kid says go to the blacksmith and get axes. So we come down here to the blacksmith's place and say, "Okay, we need a few things. We need that. We need to buy a few things. We need a bow. We need bombs." And then we go to him and we say, "Okay, dude, can you build me some axes?" And he goes, "Okay, you need to bring these special rocks and you need to bring some logs to me so I can make handles. So here's, yeah, since we can't get trees now because we don't have an axe. There are some logs out here that he just says, grab some logs off the pile and then bring me some iron rock, and I can make you some axes. So we need to run all the way back. Now you can see why we built our test thing, because we have all this stuff on one page, then we can just follow through with it. Over here, kill these guys off. Grab the bombs, and then our iron rock is down here. Yep, missed it. So we go back and he makes us axes, and then with the axes, we have the choice: is we can give one to the boy to throw at the otter, or we can use it to, and we can use one to chop down trees, but we'll only get one. If we give it to the boy, then we lose the axe. Well, greetings from America, Greece. So yeah, so he comes back, guy builds him an axe. We don't have that code in yet. And then you go back to the boy. And you either give him an axe or you don't. You know, but right now you know that the cleric has told you to go and burn the incense at Odin's thing. You come back to her and she says, okay, I can make you matches and candles. You just need to bring me beeswax, phosphate and sulfur, or potassium and sulfur. So there's beeswax here. I can drop these things. Let me drop some of this stuff. Okay. So we can pick up some beeswax. All these sprites are not the correct size yet, so. And then sulfur is also where the hat is, so we'll do all that at once. And then this is where you get all the parts for our fountain, which basically the whole goal is to show you that you have to look everywhere for fountain parts. Then we can go to the otter and say, okay, fountain piece number 1 up at the top here. And that works. Fountain piece 2. Don't worry, the wording on it is wrong. So, boop, boop, boop. And then this is where the animation will go. You know, so now we have this, and then one of these guys, what'll happen is, because this world is not connected to the world tree and can't be seen by the other gods, what we do see when the fountain tells us to go to the first god, it will say that it says the first god we should go to would be Frey. Then we would go to Frey, but Frey won't be there, but the spirit animal for Frey will be there. And we looked up a while back, because when this idea came up, we did look up the spirit animals for each god. Let me see if I can find it here. Rosebud, okay, guests. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, no, I can't find it. What do I do with it? Just because I have so many things in here now just for writing the code that... Oops. Sorry, I'm looking for the... Okay, Warcraft, Mirror Drawing. I know I saved it. Just don't enforce it where I saved it at. Let's look it up again. Oh, bo, bo, bo. No. Okay, list of gods and their spirit animals. This should be the right place. I think this is where we were before. Yeah, okay. So let me bring this up over here. Oh, geez, what did I just miss? Sorry, I just realized in my head, I'm like, hey, something just happened. Tom Tomatoes cannot be trusted. Thank you very much for the follow. Cute. It cannot be trusted. All right, let's see. No, we don't want that. We want this one. Yeah. So what we looked up is all the gods and what their spirit animals are. So if we look at, say, Trey or Tyre, you know, a god of law, battle, war, also known as Titu, married to Sunan. Spirit animal is a northern goshawk. You know, same thing. Loki's spirit animal is a fireworm. Is a now one of the things that we looked up, the reason why we have an otter, and it actually works out good for our story. So if I can find the otter, okay, with an H name. Walrus. Hill, above, daughter Loki. There's Freya. Okay, so Hanas and Semi, goddesses of treasure and value, twin daughters of Frey and Ode. Spirit animals are Northern River otter each. Now there's another one too, which was a god who was killed by Loki, and that's the one that I'm looking for because that's the one that works with our storyline. Is the reason why that otter is helping our character is because he hates Loki because Loki killed him, and he has to live on through in his spirit animal, not in his bodily form. I'm just not seeing it for some reason, and I don't know why this is, but Firefox doesn't always allow me. And I think this is something that's just going on with my computer because if I hit Control F, it should bring find this up, but it doesn't show. It doesn't give me a search window. It used to, but doesn't anymore. Yeah, so that's why we have the otter, is because the otter is the embodiment of the character that Loki killed. And he had moved into his spirit animal to keep living, and was in the village at the time when the village got teleported into this realm. And that's the way that happened. Not a god, a dwarf. Was it a dwarf? You're probably right. I may be wrong. I thought it was an H name, though. Okay. If it was a dwarf, that would be good because we can say it's a building thing. Oh, let's see. Loki kills Oter. Disguised as a falcon. Nope. Okay. Otter is a dwarf who can shapeshift into an otter. So we added to that. No, it's you're right. That's usually what it does. Is just put the fine field at the bottom of the window. But it stopped doing that a couple updates back. So I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so I guess it's an OTR. Who was killed? Loki killed him disguised as a fountain. It doesn't kill him directly. Falcon. It realizes Otter is a dwarf who can shapeshift into an otter. This leads to a series of events where the gods must pay or good compensation for death of Otter's father, who ultimately involves the curse of the. Well, we're borrowing that character to make him into an otter. Or is this the one that I was thinking about? Let's look at this one. Old Norse god is a dwarf. Wow, at the same time. Savvy Otter is back. Hello, Savvy Otter. Welcome back. Thank you very much for the sub. That was very nice of you. You came just as the zombies attacked too. Nicely done. No, we were going over the story stuff, for our thing, and why we have an otter as the thing, as a keeper of the fountain. Aside from the fact that it's an ode to you, and we all know that, but it's also a character that Loki had killed in the past, and it shapeshifted into an otter to mess up Loki's plans. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I'm going back to here. But since you've been gone, we've made, yes, otters are great creatures. Since you've been gone, we've come to a couple of realizations. And now one of the realizations that we came to is I'm a terrible programmer. That's pretty clear at this point. So what we have an inventory system that works but doesn't work. And I think it's because our code is just a mess. Oh, well, let me drop those. Oh, okay, let me. So, because the original tutorial we used was from Sarah Spalding, which is a great tutorial. That's a code, but it's an 8-year-old tutorial, and there's been many updates to GameMaker since then. And then the inventory stuff, all the other stuff we've added are from different versions of GameMaker Studio. So what I'm doing is I'm starting to build a clean version of our game in GameMaker, apart from the one that we use online. Once I get it caught up to the one online, then that's the one that we'll be using. But what we're doing is let me run past these guys, is I'm making test screens where we can go in and say, okay, here's all the quests for our character for level 1. So all of this is our level 1 quests, and there'll be more added, but this is what we have so far. And then at the top above them is all the things that we have to get for them, and below them is all the things that we get from them. So it's just basically setting it up into one page where we can go and test everything. So if we pick up all of the reeds, we can go to Steve here and give him the reeds, and then he gets his leg fixed. Then we know that's done. We know that works. Same thing with the hat. If we find the hat, we can go back and talk to him, and it goes, I think I left my hat. You can give him the hat. And the hat quest is done. But this is how, to me, this is just a good way to test everything and have it all on one page. Now, what we found out was if I get it all right on here and everything works, then I can just literally pick them up and drop them in the world and they automatically work because it's done. And then last night I needed to do some artwork, so I built a animated fountain for our fountain. And then I showed the guys how I did that in using particle effects in After Effects. It's real simple, but it's cute. And I did not realize the time. We are already late. We didn't get to do a whole lot today. I need to stop the games on time from now on. The playable games that we're playing. So yeah, so what we're going to do is for every level, and I'll show you in game. Let me close that. So for every level in our world, I want to set up a page like this that has all of the quests that he has to do on one screen. Then we can go through and test them all instead of what I was just doing, which is literally running all over the world to test everything. I don't have to do that. I can just go to this page and say, okay, here's the items I need for this. It works. Here's the items I need for that. It works. Here's the items I need for that. This works. He gives me this, that kind of thing. It just seemed like a simpler way to do it. And then I was talking today about, okay, so from Steve here until the fountain, that's literally level 0 to level 1. These are all the things you have to do. Level 2 will be whichever statue we decide is going to be the first statue. Level 2 will be the next statue, 3 the statue after that, etc., and all the things that are involved in that. Till eventually we get to the mines and saving Grandpa and stuff like that. Because we have to keep in mind that we're still trying to find Grandpa, and that's what the whole point is. So, yeah. So this just seemed like to me, an easier way to go through, because I'm still building the inventory code and having a lot of trouble with it because the spaghetti code of all the different ages of the code that we use. I need to start over with just a single code base and start building this using just that single code base that we know works. And my theory is if I start by building the UI and our inventory system first and have that on top, and then everything else will be separate in its code, then that will give us a better understanding of why things do go wrong and why things aren't working, because these things should be stacking in our inventory and they're not, though everything in our code says they're supposed to. So we'll get there, but that's kind of where we're at. We have missed you. Thank you for coming back. I hope all your home improvement stuff is going well. Yeah, the assets are improving. We're definitely getting better, but it's still temp stuff, so it will eventually just be replaced with some great art. Thanks. I have been very busy with work and house renovations. Yeah, it takes up a lot, especially when you're coming home from it. You're just like, oh, I want to go home. And you get home and it's like, oh, I want to go somewhere where I can just sit quietly. I remember when my house was being done, it was just like, I would go upstairs because they were working downstairs, but it was like, oh, I'd eventually have to go downstairs and go, oh, but I had a hot plate and microwave and stuff upstairs, so I could basically live on the second floor while they were redoing the whole downstairs. Upside down house, absolutely. Okay, let me see. We are ending this section because I didn't realize that it was already after the half hour. So, or the half hour mark, half past. Not as in we only do this for 30 minutes. We do this for much longer, but yeah. Alrighty, let's go back to our logo. And then everybody that's helped, of course. And we'll go on to our next thing. But I'll have to pull back on some of the gameplay stuff, and so we can spend more time on this. You know, this week I'm sorry, but Beyond the Dark Portal is those levels are massive, and you get into them and you don't want to stop, but you have to. But yeah, let's grab this. Demo soon. And in there, jump back to me.